Hi there, I'm Chris for customizing.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the expansion for The Walking Dead All Out War, Days Gone By. This expansion brings in a narrative campaign that we're going to take a look at the first scenario of today. So, choose your equipment and let's get into it. The majority of this narrative campaign is single player, with the exception being the final chapter, and there's also some chapters where you've got separate groups, in which case you can easily do that as a 2 or 3 player. On this one there's only one group of survivors, but again that can easily be sorted for a multiplayer where one person takes control of, say, Rick, the other takes control of Morgan and Duane. In this chapter, Chapter 1 Gun Running, Rick Grimes has woken from a coma, finding the world a changed place. After finding refuge in the home of Morgan Jones and his son Duane, the 3 companions set out for Rick's old police station to secure a stash of weaponry with which to weather the storm. So on the top left there we've got a bag of guns, which represents the entrance to the police station. Bottom right is where the survivors are starting, and then the top half of the board is full of walkers. In this you get 20 points of equipment to give between your 3 survivors here. So I've used 18 points of equipment, giving Rick a hatchet for 12 and Morgan a crowbar for 6. The crowbar is going to let me use a better dice for the smash action, so he's going to be key to getting into that top corner. Duane doesn't have any items, I didn't have enough points to give him anything really useful. So he's going to be relying on items found by searching the vehicles. So the threat level is set to 1, and I need to get to the top corner there and break into the police station. So let's go with the first turn. So before jumping into the game, I think it's worth mentioning that I'm using the deluxe game mat, which is a neoprene mat, the scenery booster, which is giving you 3D vehicles, loot tokens, barricades. The gun bag is one of the Mantic points rewards, which I got through the Kickstarter. I'm also using these deluxe range rulers there, the walker and the survivor as well. These don't make any difference to the gameplay really, it's just I find them a little bit easier to use when you're in a bit of a cramped position with these little notches here. Also the kill zone template for the deluxe markers is a bit easier to use as well, with it being clear. The character cards that I'm using are from the Morgan character booster, and these are the ones suggested for this chapter. In the character booster you get Morgan, Duane and a walker as well. The Rick model is from the base game. So for the first turn, Duane is going to run towards this blue vehicle. Let's go put him there. So he's not close enough to be able to search this vehicle, but with him running he created noise. So when you create noise you've got a 10-inch range, and the closest walker in that range moves 6 inches, so that's going to be this one here. Moves in a straight line towards the point of noise, so he bonks into the car and that stops his movement immediately. Next time he moves you'll be able to move around the vehicle, and so it's pretty handy using your scenery like that, especially when you're using action to make noise. You can lure them away from you there. So there's nothing else that Duane can do, so I'm going to move on to Rick's turn. I'm going to have Rick run here. Now the closest one is going to be this same walker, so easily within 6-inch range. That moves into Rick, and that locks him into combat, so he doesn't get a second action here either. Now then, Morgan's turn. He's going to run up to this vehicle, which again creates noise. So the closest walker is this one with the back turned to him, so that's going to walk and bonk into there. So Morgan's now in contact with this vehicle, which is where the supply token is. If the supply token's on the ground, you've got to be in base contact with it. The vehicles class as supply hubs, so you just need to be in contact with the vehicle and not be in contact with a walker. So that's fine for Morgan there. So his second action is going to be a search action. With the search action, you draw the top of the supply deck, and he's just found himself a Molotov. So that's a ranged weapon, and you can set walkers on fire with that. It also creates mayhem, which ups the threat, and every walker within 10 inches moves towards that, rather than when noise does it, it's just the nearest one. So Molotovs, they're not great for killing walkers, but they're pretty good for clearing areas out. So that Molotov is actually a pretty good weapon for getting those 4 walkers out of the way without having to really worry about having to kill them. So that'll be worth keeping in mind there. So that Molotov gets placed into Morgan's item slots. So you've got 2 item slots on these characters, which you can freely use, and then you've got pack items as well, which you need to use an action to take something out of your pack to then equip it. So then all the movement actions and things like that for the survivors are done. So we're going to then check the kill zones of any walkers that may be in range of a survivor. So that one is well out. The rest of them are clearly well out the way of the survivors. So next we draw the top card of our event deck. These cards are specifically worded for solo play. These are part of the Prelude to Woodbury expansion. So, top card, we immediately play the threat. So the threat goes up 1, so it's now at 2. We are currently in all quiet. So roll a white dice and move that many eligible walkers towards the nearest survivor. So the white dice rolls and 1 walker moves towards the nearest survivor. So I'm going to say the walker that Morgan had attracted is then going to shamble 6 inches towards him, and since it had already bumped into this barricade here, the car, it can move around it rather than moving in a straight line. So that's going to be 1 inch and easily into range there. So the event is completed there. With there being a combat, the threat goes up by 1, and now we focus on the combat. Okay, we're going to do Rick's combat first. So Rick has a melee stat of 1 white dice, and with the hatchet it adds an extra white dice as well. So we roll them now, and just bring that into there. Got a score of 3 there. The walker attacks with 1 red dice, so we roll that, 0. So Rick has won that combat, but he hasn't scored a headshot, so that walker isn't killed. It's just knocked back and placed prone an inch away. Now the bases of these are an inch, so you can just tip it backwards, and it's easy to keep track of the distance there. Okay, then next we're going to do Morgan's combat. He has a melee score of 1 white dice, and the crowbar doesn't give him any advantage in this combat. So he's scored a 1, and the walker, so just rolled off the map there, he's also scored a 1. So in case of a draw, the survivor always takes precedence there, so it's classed as a win. There's no damage dealt, so it gets pushed back by 1 inch. Now with the combats completed, we then go into the end phase. So first off, we roll a black dice for every prone walker, so there's only 1 at the minute, so I'll roll that. On a shield it stands back up, on a blank nothing happens, so it stands back up. We've got no one bitten, there's no end of turn effects, so we check the scenario for victory conditions, which we haven't achieved, and if you are playing against someone else you would move the initiative counter, which is a sheriff badge. You give that to the other player, and then they take precedence in draws with other survivors and get first turn. So a new turn starts and we just go back to doing what we had done before there. So first turn I'm going to give it to Duane. Duane's going to move up to there, it's within 4 inches, so it's part of the sneak action, so he doesn't make any noise. And then he's going to search that supply token there. So we draw the top card and we have a lurker. So Duane is attacked by a hidden walker inside that car. It attacks with 2 red dice. So it has scored 3 with a bite. Duane only has a defense of a red. So his defense would knock 1 off of there. So the walker has won this combat with 2 and a bite. So we knock the health down by 2, and as he's been bitten he also has his token changed out as health bar for a bitten marker. So that lurker card is just placed aside there in the discard pile, and that is both of Duane's actions, and it's not looking particularly good for him right there. And next up we will go with Rick, and Rick is going to just move straight into combat again there. So Morgan next. Just thinking what would be best for Morgan. You know what, I'm just going to move him into combat again there. So again we'll go to the kill zone, but there's no walkers anywhere near them, so we don't need to worry about that. It goes to the event cards. So we draw the top one and we have Won't Stay Down. We're currently in all quiet. In fact, no, sorry, that lurker would have increased the threat by 1 as well. So we're currently in low threat, which doesn't change the rule for this card. For each prone walker, roll a black dice. On a shield, the walker gets up. If there are no prone walkers, add +1 to the threat level. So there's no prone walkers, so we're now at threat level 5. Okay, then with the events done, we then go straight into combat, and we'll go with Rick first again. So again, Rick gets 2 white dice, and he scores 2 on there, but no headshots. Now the walker, it's just a single one, it rolls 1 red, nothing, it gets knocked down. We go to Morgan, scores 1, then 1 for the walker, 1 and 1 again. So we'll put that there. go to the end phase, any prone walkers, there's one, it stays down. Now we do have a character who's been bitten, which is Duane. So we roll the black dice again, and we're looking for a shield. Get a shield, so no effect. If we roll a blank, he would have lost 1 health point and he would have died. And with him being bitten, he would have come back as a walker as well. Now this turn, I'm going to start with Rick, who is going to move 4 inches for a sneak to there. Then he is going to attempt to lower the threat. So on a keep you calm or hold your nerve action, sorry, you roll the black dice. Shield, so the threat goes down by 1. We're now with threat level 4. Then I'm going to move Duane. Duane's going to run a bit of interference, and he's going to run to there. Closest walker, just put 3.5, 3. So the closest walker is this one that his dad was fighting. So it'll come round and head into combat there. Morgan's going to go into combat with his son and this walker here. Okay, we go into the kill zone, and that's just out. So there's no kill zone walkers. We go into the event phase. Pandemonium, +1 threat. As we in low threat still. Roll a blue dice and move that many walkers towards the nearest survivor, then white dice walkers enter play. So 1 walker is going to move, so we'll put that into there, and then 1 walker is going to enter play. And this walker is going to enter play along the bottom edge here. So that card is discarded. We go into combat. There's combat, so threat goes up by 1. And Rick is going to be rolling 2 white dice, and the walker gets 1. So Rick has scored 4 with 2 headshots, the walker scored none, so that walker is dead. Next we have Morgan. Morgan rolls 1 white dice. Since Duane's in this combat as well, his melee score goes in, so we get 1 red dice, which hasn't done anything. And then the walker gets 0 as well. So the walker's going to be pushed back an inch and knocked down because it's took 1 damage. And that's the end of that. Okay, the prone walkers, so we'll roll for this one first, stays down. Then the one that Morgan's just knocked down, stays down. Now the bite on Duane, and he's fine. With that we go back to the top of the round. So our first action, gonna move Morgan 4 inches. And then I'm going to throw the Molotov, which has a range of 6 inches, so use the Walker's Shamble one for that. We will throw that, I'm going to throw that just at this barricade here. So the Molotov is going to be landing there. We use the kill zone marker, and that's going to tell us what is going to be caught in it. So So we've only got one walker that's going to be caught in the blast. Now the Molotov is a blast weapon with a single use. So with blast weapons you have to roll a headshot to be able to hit the target, otherwise your opponent can replace it a little bit so they can actually save their character. Headshots rolled in this are ignored for the purpose of like dealing damage. So we roll 2 red dice for the Molotov plus Morgan's ranged attack, which is another red. So I'll just pull the camera out. So at least it's hit where it's meant to hit, and it's doing 2. It's going to be doing 2 damage. The Walker's defense is 0, so it's being hit. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but it's knocking it down, and it also applies a flame token to the Walker as well. So we've got these from Reaper, part of the Bones line that they do. Yeah, I quite like the look of them. So that Walker's now on fire. That creates mayhem, which ups the threat, so we're now at threat level 7. The mayhem is caused from the point of impact. So the walkers within 10 inches are all going to converge onto that point. So from there, all of these walkers, that one as well, all of these walkers basically bar this one down here and the one that spawned in down the bottom there. So just gonna walk into that, into that, into that. This one is going to line up behind there, into there, into there, and this one is going to line up on the bottom there. Now the burning token on that walker adds a couple of different effects here. So only one burning token can ever be applied to a single walker, no matter how many times it is hit with flaming attacks. A walker with a burning token adds 1 bonus red dice to its side's melee attack rolls. In the end phase, after rolling for any prone walkers, roll a black dice for each walker that currently has a burning token. On the blank, the walker is unaffected and the burning token remains. On a shield, the walker is laid prone and the burning token is removed. Okay, so that was Morgan's turn. Then Rick is going to sneak to there, and then he's going to try and lower the threat, which he does. So now at threat level 6. Duane is going to sneak to the car, and then he's going to search it, and he has some football pads. So this goes onto the body slot and reduces damage taken from melee attacks by 1. You could have used that earlier. So we'll just remove that. So those football pads can be placed straight onto the character as well. You don't have to put it into your pack and then take it out when you find a new item. You can immediately equip that. Okay, so that is all 3 of them done there. So we go on to kill zones. Rick is just under kill zone for him, so he immediately turns around and comes in for the fight. And it's just that there. Okay, event card, the herd. So we're in low threat, So choose a walker and move it towards the nearest survivor. All eligible walkers within 8 inches of the chosen walker then also move, convergent on the chosen walker. So we're going to move this walker. It's going to come towards Rick. Those walkers within 8 inches. So that is a running speed. Okay. So this one will move into Duane. That's not good. This will go to the side, and then we'll go into combat. So we're going to go into this combat here. We'll go with Rick, so that's 2 white, so he's scoring 4 with a headshot, and we've got 2 walkers in contact with him. So in multiple combat, the first walker gets the usual 1 dice, and then the second walker gets its usual 1 dice plus an extra 1 for being the second fighter. So the third walker would then be rolling 3 dice and then 4 and 5. So 3 reds, and it has scored 2. So the 2 cancels each other out. So I've scored 2 damage with a headshot. So one of them gets killed from the headshot, the other is knocked down. Then we'll go with Duane. Duane gets a red dice, the walker gets a red dice, so it's 1v1. The armour knocks the damage down by 1, so he's not taking any damage, and he's the winner anyway, so he pushes that one back. Then prone walkers, we'll do the bottom one here, stays down. The one that Morgan knocked down gets up. Then the one Rick just put down stays down. Then for we've got the one that's on fire as well, stays down. The flame token, the flame is removed. It was already prone, so it just stays there. Then we've got Duane's bite, and he's fine. So for the top of the round, we're going to be running. We need out the threat for that combat as well. So we're at threat level 7 at the minute. Top of the round, Rick is going to Rick is going to run to here, so it's about 5 inches he's moved there. So the closest walker is this one. It's going to walk into there. Okay then. So their action, he is going to try and keep the calm. Knocks me down to threat level 6 with a shield there. Morgan is going to run, which will put him to there, which attracts the nearest walker, which is going to be either this one, 2.5. It's going to be that one, which comes up to there. Okay, then Duane is going to run. With Duane being a runner, he can get over scenery no problem as well. He doesn't need to roll to do that. So he is going to run up onto here, which will just bonk that one into there. Okay, going to kill zones. Yeah, we're fine there. Event +2, which puts me to threat level 8, which is still low threat. 2 white dice and walkers into play, and I'll move towards the nearest survivor. So 2. So they'll come in down here, and they just move a bit further up the board. Okay, combat. There's combat, so threat goes up by 1. And Morgan is going to fight. So he scores a 1, Walker scores a 1, so it's getting knocked back there. Prone walkers, so there's one down on the bottom here, gets up. Then we do this one, stays down, and then that one gets up. Duane's bite, and he's fine. Top of the round, Morgan is going to sneak up to there, and Morgan is sneak up to the top there, so he's now in contact with that. Now a smash roll is similar to doing a melee attack, so with Morgan he is getting a white dice, and then with the crowbar, instead of getting an extra red dice for the smash, he's using an extra white dice. So roll that, and he has 3. In the victory conditions of this chapter, you've got that the munition store has a defense value of a blue dice. So the blue dice defends 2, so Morgan has 1. So we're in. That creates noise. So that'll attract this up onto here. Rick is going to be a run action there. So that creates noise. That's going to bring that over into there. Duane is going to try and hold his nerve, which he doesn't. And then he is going to, let's just sneak him across onto here. And there's no kill zone to worry about there, because Duane's well out of the way. So we go for our action. Romas, we're on medium threat, so roll the blue dice. Move that many eligible walkers towards the nearest survivor. This one is going to go into Duane. So get rid of that card. And we go into combat, so we up the threat. We're now at threat level 10. And we'll start with Duane. Duane gets a red dice, Walker gets a red dice. Duane has killed it with 2 and a headshot. This next fight. Now, we break this into 2 separate combats. So we'll just pull Rick down there. Rick has 2 white dice, and he scores 2 there. Walker gets a red dice, scores a 1. So it's knocked back in this prone. Morgan is going to fight with the white dice, which he scores 2 and a headshot. Walker scores a 1, so it's killed. Okay, with the combat done, we're now going to go on to seeing what walkers stand up. So we've got this guy, gets up. This one, gets up. Go on to Duane's bite. And he's fine. The winning conditions have been met, so we have won. The guys get into the prison, into the police station, and they manage to gear up, and Rick gets ready to head off towards Atlanta. And that sees us through the first chapter of the Days Gone By expansion narrative campaign for The Walking Dead All Out War. See the link below if you're interested in picking up a copy for yourself, where you'll save money and you'll also earn some Carson credits, which will get you towards building your own discounts for future purchases. Thank you very much, and happy gaming.